yourself and your family. You embarrassing yourself. You are embarrassing.
So tell your mama dig her up and post a picture that look better than my. I want to say something about my mama. Your mama. Your mama. Go dig her up.
That was King Harris talking big just weeks ago. And now the energy looks completely different. The same person he was calling out, reports say he's now trying to reach him behind the scenes. At the same time, 50 Cent is rumored to be putting together a documentary that could seriously shake the Harris family. And if even part of what's being discussed turns out true, this situation could spiral fast. King might end up regretting every single word he put out there, and people are already pointing that out across social media. So what actually happened, and what are people still trying to figure out? Back in early March 2026, talk started building that 50 Cent was working on a documentary, possibly titled Surviving T.I. and Tiny. That alone was enough to get attention. But the real story started before that even hit the timeline. King Harris had already been loud, active, and fully locked into a heated back and forth with 50. This wasn't just a few comments here and there. He went all in with videos, diss tracks, custom t-shirts, even launching a cannabis product, all aimed directly at 50 Cent. This wasn't light trolling either. This felt like a full-on campaign. And to understand why things suddenly shifted from confidence to what some are calling panic, you have to look at what King actually said and did before the documentary rumors even started gaining traction. People began talking because this didn't feel like a typical rap clash. It crossed into personal territory in a way that made a lot of people uncomfortable. In hip-hop, there are lines most people don't cross. But here, those lines didn't just get close, they got stepped over. For example, when 50 posted an unflattering image of King's mother, Tiny Harris, King fired back in a viral video. He made it clear he didn't like how things were going and said he wasn't raised to play like that.
I'm not raised.
You and 50 got a beef or something, man? Because I seen a post today where they were saying that you were supposed to be in, I guess one of the Power, what's the name? I guess two of the actors on the show said that you were actually supposed to be on the show, and then they replaced you with Method Man, and they weren't expecting it or something.
No,
like that.
that's not true. 50 and I, we were executive producers on a different show outside of the Power universe. But nah, man, me and 50 cool. We just...
That moment spread fast online, and people were already watching closely, but it didn't stop. There, King then brought up 50 Cent's late mother, Sabrina Jackson, who passed away when he was very young. Even while saying he didn't want to involve mothers in the situation, he still went into territory that many people feel should be off limits. That's when everything started to shift. People immediately noticed the contradiction. On one side, he was defending his own family. On the other, he was speaking on someone who isn't here to respond. That difference hit hard with the public, and reactions came in fast. And that's exactly when things started escalating even further. One specific line had people completely stunned, and from there, it didn't stay just about words. King took it beyond that by wearing a t-shirt featuring Sabrina Jackson's image, releasing a cannabis product inspired by her name, and dropping diss tracks like Drop Top that added even more fuel to the situation. The internet reacted heavy, and the response wasn't balanced. A small group defended him, saying he was standing up for his family, but the majority saw it differently. Many people felt like he was pushing things too far just for attention, especially involving someone who's no longer here. That perception changed everything. And when it comes to 50 Cent, he's known for moving strategically. He doesn't always react right away. Instead, he watches, collects, and waits. Every move King made didn't just disappear. It was noticed, recorded, screenshotted.
Good day, everyone. How are you doing? I am just bringing it to your attention that it is now July the 6th. And I gave you 2 days for a grace period just because I had to get my shit together. I was having a good time, but 5 mics. There's an app check for you or a paycheck for me. Thank you.
Reposted and analyzed from every angle. Nothing slipped through the cracks. And now people are starting to connect the dots on how all of this may have led to what's coming next. Nothing disappeared. Nothing got forgotten. That digital trail turned into something serious, real fast. It became receipts, a full record that couldn't just be erased or explained away later. So when talk of a documentary started heating up, those clips and posts weren't just old moments anymore. They felt like evidence. And just like that, the narrative started building on its own, that King may have pushed things too far. And if you look at it from that angle, it starts to make sense why there's talk about him wanting this documentary stopped before it even fully drops. But this situation didn't start with King. It runs way deeper than that. So to really understand it, you have to rewind all the way back, before King was even old enough to be part of any of this. This story connects to two major figures in hip-hop who came up at the same time, but from completely different worlds. Back in 2003, 50 Cent dropped Get Rich or Die Tryin', telling his story of surviving multiple serious incidents and rising out of Queens, New York. That same year, T.I. released Trap Music, helping shape Atlanta's sound and stepping into his role as the King of the South. Both dominated their lanes. Both built strong fan bases.
Where you at right now? Let's see where
I'm not gonna say no. I'm not gonna tell law-abiding citizens not to call the police so I can, not be of benefit to a downward departure. Not gonna do that. Because you know why? Law-abiding citizens are gonna call the police anyway. That's their right.
You're right.
And guess what? Street was never gonna not snitch. Or excuse me, they were never gonna not keep it silent because they seen me on a...
And both had influence in a system where New York versus the South wasn't just talk. It affected everything from radio play to recognition. That tension didn't always need to be loud to be real. For years, things stayed mostly quiet between them. No direct shots, no major public drama, just two heavyweights moving in the same space, keeping it respectful, or at least neutral. But that calm didn't last forever. Around 2020, everything started shifting when Verzu's battles took over during the pandemic. Created by Swizz Beatz and Timbaland, these matchups had artists going hit for hit, live online, and T.I. made it very clear he wanted 50 Cent in that spotlight. He pushed for it hard. T.I. compared it to the iconic 2007 moment between 50's, Curtis and Kanye West's graduation, bringing it up in interviews, podcasts, and live streams. He kept the idea alive everywhere he went, making it clear he saw it as a major moment for both of them. But 50 wasn't feeling it. He shut it down again and again, saying he wasn't interested. He pointed to his success in television, especially with the Power series, making it clear he had moved beyond music battles. To him, Verzu's just didn't fit where he was at anymore. And it wasn't just the rejection, it was how it came across. It didn't sound like a simple no. It sounded like the whole idea wasn't even worth considering. And for someone like T.I., who built his name as a leader in Southern rap, that kind of energy felt personal. So the tension didn't disappear. It just stayed under the surface. There were subtle jabs, small moments, little exchanges that kept things simmering without fully boiling over. Nothing explosive, but enough to keep people watching closely. Then February 2026 hit.
I said I wanted 50. That's what I said. He don't want no smoke, though. Oh, no. I called my man out. He don't want no smoke. He ducking smoke. It's cool.
And everything changed. T.I. appeared on Shannon Sharp's Nightcap podcast and made a bold claim. He suggested that 50 Cent had shown interest in a Verzu's matchup behind the scenes, only to later step back publicly. That statement alone shifted the entire tone of the situation. Now it wasn't quiet anymore. I followed it up with a diss track titled Let 'Em Know, and he didn't hold back. He even shot the video in New York City, 50 Cent's home territory, which sent a message all by itself. The lyrics went directly at 50's age, his move into acting, and what T.I. framed as changes in his public image. But 50 didn't respond with music. Instead, he took a completely different route. He brought back attention to an old 2003 legal moment involving T.I., sharing a clip that sparked major conversation online. And just like that, he introduced a label that carries serious weight in hip-hop culture. That single move flipped everything. The focus shifted away from music, away from hits and charts, and straight into questions about reputation and image. In hip-hop, that kind of narrative can change how people see everything. And from that point on, things escalated fast. The situation grew bigger than just two artists. Family members got pulled into the conversation, tracks started stacking up, and boundaries that usually stay untouched were crossed. And eventually, that's when talk of a documentary entered the picture, taking everything to a whole new level. All of it traces back to that shift, the moment when things stopped being about music and started becoming about reputation. Once it reached that point, there was no going back. This wasn't friendly competition anymore.
Let me tell, but this is about another kind of tip that can help our mothers, our sisters, our brothers, and our fathers help get the perpetrators who commit crimes against them off the streets. All you got to do is call Crime Stoppers Atlanta. Tips can be anonymous, and there's even a reward. The number to Crime Stoppers Atlanta is 404 404-577-8477. That's 404-577-TIP.
It turned into a battle over impact, over image, over who could leave the biggest mark. And this is where things became uneven in a major way. The I had respect, influence, and a strong presence in music, but 50 Cent, he had something different. Media power, a full production machine, and the ability to shape narratives on a much larger scale. That difference changed everything moving forward. While T.I. could respond through songs, 50 had the tools to control the conversation itself, and that imbalance made every move from the Harris side riskier than it looked at. First, the first person from T.I.'s family to jump fully into the situation without really slowing down to think it through was his son, King Harris. And once King stepped in, things escalated fast, and this stopped being side just between two artists. It became a full family situation, playing out online for everyone to see. Every post, every clip, every reaction, all happening in real time across social media, with people watching closely. King Harris, born August 25th, 2004, grew up in the spotlight. He appeared on the VH1 reality show T.I. and Tiny, The Family Hustle, which gave viewers a close look into their home life for years. By the time the situation heated up,
how did Falant's family find out about his death?
I told him. I called his mom first, then I told his cousin. I told his little girl.
How old was his little girl?
His daughter was 4 years old at the time. Five years old at the time.
And how did you tell his daughter that her father was dead?
He's in a better place and he won't be coming back. And I told her how much he loved her.
King was 21, old enough to speak for himself, but still at a stage where emotion can take over strategy. And that showed. He already had a reputation for being outspoken, especially from moments on the show where he challenged his parents during intense discussions. That same bold energy carried right into this situation. The moment that pulled King directly into the conflict was clear. During one of the exchanges with T.I., 50 Cent posted an unflattering image of Tiny Harris online. That move shifted everything into personal territory. Going after someone's partner, especially in front of millions, instantly changed the tone, and the Harris family didn't stay quiet. King and his older brother, Damani, both stepped in right away. But their approaches were completely different. Damani showed some restraint. King did not. He came in loud, emotional, and nonstop. His video targeting 50 Cent's late mother spread across the internet within hours. The message was repeated again and again, making sure it landed exactly how he intended. And it definitely got attention, just not the kind that helps build support. Instead, it created pressure. It put a spotlight on him for all the wrong reasons. And instead of slowing down, King pushed even harder. The t-shirts, the cannabis product, the diss tracks, it kept coming. Altogether, the Harris side released around 6 diss tracks aimed at 50. King songs, including Drop Top, went directly at personal topics. Damani added his own verses, while T.I. also dropped multiple tracks, highlighting his catalog and taking shots at 50s, move into television, and film. I even addressed the situation in interviews, and his reaction was mixed. On one hand, he said he didn't like seeing his sons pulled into negativity. On the other, he respected their loyalty. He made it clear they were standing up for the family, and in hip-hop culture, that kind of loyalty means everything. But at the same time, it also meant those actions weren't being fully shut down, and that's where the real issue started to show. This wasn't just about energy anymore, it was about control. King stepped into a situation that required patience.
And how did you tell his mom that her son was gone?
Well, first I apologized. I apologized because, I felt that, all of those rounds were fired for me, in my opinion.
Timing and calculated moves. But instead of slowing things down, he kept escalating. Every new video, every new product, every new track added more heat without actually gaining any ground. And the biggest problem? 50 Cent didn't even need to respond. King's own actions were doing the work. Each move made him look more unpredictable, while at the same time making whatever 50 chose to do next feel more justified in the eyes of the public. That imbalance kept growing with every single post. The backlash came fast, and it was loud. Most people agreed that bringing up someone who has already passed away crossed a serious line. No matter what started it, that's where the public reaction shifted heavily, and the difference in age and experience made it stand out even more. King, at 21, was going head-to-head with someone who has been playing the long game for decades. Meanwhile, 50 stayed calm. He barely responded with music at all. Instead, he posted memes, added short captions, and dropped subtle lines like, "They're gonna learn to leave me alone." It wasn't loud, but it was effective. The contrast was clear. The Harris side kept pushing nonstop, while 50 stayed controlled, letting the situation build on its own. And that silence, that wasn't random. It was strategy. This is something 50 has done before. He lets things build, lets people go too far, and then responds in a way that hits harder than expected. And this time, it wasn't shaping up to be just another song. It was something much bigger, a documentary. If diss tracks are like quick shots in a rap battle, a documentary is a full takeover. And in early March 2026, rumors started spreading about a project called Surviving T.I. and Tiny. That title alone got people talking because it echoes past documentary formats that had major impact on public opinion.
50 Cent decided to wake up this Saturday, February 7th, on the dark side of the bed once again. And if you follow, you know I done spoke on that before, how I feel 50 Cent does not wake up on the wrong side of the bed in the morning. He wakes up on the dark side. And I say at least about half the month, maybe about 15 days, he gonna get it to the capital C's and go at some.
This didn't look like simple entertainment. It looked serious. 50 even added to the conversation himself. In a now deleted post, he hinted at the direction by referencing how things tend to go quiet before a major project drops, and suggested that difficult questions could start coming up during public appearances. That message got attention fast. The claims being referenced in online discussions date back to 2021, when multiple individuals came forward with accusations involving T.I. and Tiny. Legal cases were filed, though many were later dismissed due to legal technicalities, and there have been no convictions. But regardless of outcomes, the fact that those topics were being brought back into the spotlight, again, that alone was enough to shift the entire situation into something much bigger than just a rap feud. T.I. and Tiny have denied all claims, stating that any situations involved were fully consensual. But here's the reality. A documentary doesn't need a conviction, it needs a story.
Post a picture of your mama. She pay respect. Stop playing with my mama.
And when different claims get packaged into a polished emotional narrative, it can completely reshape how the public sees someone. That's where this situation starts to feel serious, because 50 Cent has the tools to do exactly that. The impact could be massive. T.I. built a brand that goes far beyond music. Business moves, community work, public image, all of it. A project like this could shake everything, affecting partnerships, opportunities, and how people view his legacy moving forward. And King, he wouldn't be separate from it either. His career is closely tied to his family name, so if that name takes a hit, it follows him too. Labels can hesitate, collaborators can step back, and opportunities can start slipping away fast. But here's where things really take a turn. Everything King did to defend his family may have actually made things worse. Every video, every lyric, every product, it all adds to the narrative. And those same moments can easily be flipped and used in a completely different way. What was meant as defense could end up working against the entire family. There have even been reports suggesting T.I. was deeply affected by how far things escalated, while others described King as someone who stepped into a situation much bigger than expected. Whether King actually tried to reach out to 50 hasn't been confirmed, but looking at how things unfolded, it wouldn't be surprising.
I'm the only one who's not offended by his brass approach, and he's not offended by mine. So, you know, we play rough, but we ain't no issue. It's a mutual respect.
Because this situation moved beyond music, it became something heavier, and recently, there's been a noticeable shift. King, who was everywhere during the peak of the drama, has gone quiet. The diss tracks slowed down, the loud moves faded, and the energy cooled off. No one knows exactly why, but the change is clear. Maybe it's advice, maybe it's pressure, or maybe it's just reality setting in. Either way, it looks different now. T.I., on the other hand, hasn't backed down. He responded to the documentary talk with confidence, even challenging the idea head on. That could mean he's not worried, or it could mean he's staying strong publicly to control the narrative. Either way, this is no longer just about music. This is about image, power, and who controls the story. What might be manageable for someone with decades of experience is a completely different situation for a 21-year-old still figuring things out. Just weeks ago, King was loud, confident, and fully in attack mode. He believed the Harris name could handle anything thrown at it. But here's the reality. Diss tracks and documentaries don't hit the same. A diss track burns hot for a moment, maybe a few days, and then it fades. A documentary stays. it gets streamed, shared, debated, and brought up again years later. That's a completely different level of impact. King stepped into this ready for a direct clash, but it turned into something else entirely, a media battle. And going up against someone who builds media empires is a completely different challenge. Online reactions have been split. Some people are praising 50 for staying patient and strategic, calling the documentary move a final checkmate. Others are looking at it differently, pointing out the imbalance, a seasoned media figure with massive resources going head-to-head with someone still building his platform. That raises real questions. The age gap, the influence, the reach, it all stands out. And beyond this situation, there's a bigger conversation happening about hip-hop itself. The culture has always respected boldness, energy, and standing your ground. But things have changed. Today's biggest names aren't just artists anymore. They're brands, executives, and full media forces. The tools they use go way beyond music. And a documentary that can reshape how people see you isn't just a moment. It's something that can last for years. That's the environment King stepped into when he started making those moves. He was playing by one set of rules, while 50 was operating on a completely different level. There's also the strategy side of this. If this documentary is real, it's not just about the feud. It creates buzz, builds attention, keeps names trending, and reinforces a certain image. And at this point, even the idea of it has already shifted everything. That's real influence, the kind where you don't even have to act and people still react. And for King, this might be the biggest lesson in all of this. In this industry, it's not about who speaks the loudest. It's about who has the most leverage. King had energy, reactions, and momentum. But 50 has platforms, reach, and a long history of turning moments into something much bigger. If the reports about King stepping back are true, that's not weakness. That's awareness. It shows he may have realized just how big this situation really became. The only question now is, did that realization come too late? If you made it this far, hit that like button, subscribe, share this video, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. And I'll catch you in the next one.